What started as music has evolved into murder. In the streets of Detroit, two of the city's biggest rap stars are locked in a deadly feud that's lasted over 15 years, leaving a trail of innocent victims caught in the crossfire. This isn't just about diss tracks and social media beef. It's about territory, respect, and the dangerous reality when street life collides with music fame. By the end of this video, you'll understand how 42 Dugg and Sada Baby's rivalry escalated from neighborhood tension to citywide violence, why rapper Grizzley found himself caught in the middle despite having no gang ties, and how a single shooting outside a parole office ignited a war that continues to claim lives today. Let's dive into the dangerous world of Detroit's rap scene, where your street affiliation can determine whether you live or die. Before the fame, before the record deals, 42 Dugg was just another kid from Detroit's east side caught up in the street life. By age 15, he was deeply entrenched with the 6 Mile 42 Hustle Boys, a subset of the Crips. His path seemed predetermined, another statistic in Detroit's cycle of violence and incarceration. In 2010, everything changed. Dugg was sentenced to 4 years in prison for carjacking and felony firearms possession. But prison would prove to be just the beginning of his troubles. "I was in jail, I did 6 years, Dugg later revealed in an interview. "I had 4.5 years for carjacking, ended up doing 6. That additional time came from an altercation with another inmate, extending what should have been a 4-year bid into a 6-year ordeal. But something unexpected happened during those long days behind bars. 42 Dugg discovered his voice. He began writing rap lyrics, crafting stories about his life and experiences, unknowingly laying the foundation for his future career. When he finally tasted freedom again, Dugg was determined to leave the street life behind and pursue music seriously. His breakthrough single, "I'm Sorry," resonated with listeners, capturing the raw emotion and authenticity that would become his trademark. The industry took notice. It wasn't long before heavyweights like Lil Baby and Yo Gotti signed him, propelling 42 Dugg into the national spotlight. But you might be wondering, if Dugg was finding success and potentially escaping his troubled past, how did he end up in one of Detroit's deadliest feuds? To understand that, we need to look at the other major player in this conflict, Sada Baby, the late bloomer. While 42 Dugg was serving time, another Detroit native was making his own way through the city's competitive rap scene. Sada Baby, from the 7 Mile area, took a different path to street affiliation. Unlike most rappers who joined gangs in their teenage years, Sada remained unaffiliated until age 22. Practically unheard of in a city where choosing sides often happens before you're old enough to drive. Eventually, he was persuaded to represent the Bloods, though he maintained connections to the Crips through family ties. Sada's unique delivery and undeniable charisma quickly earned him respect in Detroit and beyond. Tracks like Big Steppin' showcased his talents, leading to collaborations with street-credible artists like King Von and Fredo Bang. His rise paralleled 42 Dugg's ascent, with both artists putting Detroit back on the hip-hop map. On the surface, you might think two successful rappers from the same city would collaborate rather than clash. So what turned potential allies into deadly enemies? The answer lies not in their music, but in the streets they came from. But before we dive into the heart of this conflict, you need to understand how a third player entered the game, someone who would inadvertently pour gasoline on an already volatile situation. Grizzley, caught in the crossfire. Grizzley represents a different kind of Detroit success story. Unlike Dugg and Sada, he wasn't born into gang life. Raised primarily by his grandmother in West Detroit, Grizzley grew up watching his parents cycle through the prison system, his mother sentenced to 20 years for drug trafficking in 2011. His father killed the following year. Despite these hardships, Grizzley initially chose education over the streets, attending Michigan State University to study finance and accounting. Financial struggles ultimately led him astray. While in college, he began robbing other students' dorms for cash and electronics. Eventually caught but released pending investigation, Grizzley made a fateful decision. He and friends went on the run, attempting to rob a jewelry store in Lexington, Kentucky. The botched heist resulted in his arrest and a sentence combining 9 months for the jewelry store robbery and 18 months to 15 years for the campus thefts. Upon his release in 2016, T Grizzley channeled his experiences into music. His debut First Day Out freestyle went viral, establishing him as one of Detroit's most promising new voices. Collaborations with Meek Mill and Lil Durk followed as his star continued to rise. But T Grizzley made a critical mistake that would have deadly consequences. Despite not being gang-affiliated himself, he began collaborating with artists from both the 6 Mile Crips and 7 Mile Bloods, effectively playing both sides of a long-standing war. Think about it. In a city where your affiliations can mean life or death, T Grizzley was walking an impossible line. Some say he was just chasing success, building his brand regardless of the consequences, similar to how Young Dolph operated in Memphis. Others believe he should have known better, that someone with his street knowledge should have recognized the danger. Either way, his decisions would soon place him at the center of Detroit's most volatile rap beef, with consequences that would touch everyone around him. Now that you understand the key players, let's examine how a 15-year gang war became intertwined with Detroit's music scene, creating a perfect storm of violence. The origins, a parole office shootout. To truly understand this conflict, we need to go back to its roots. The 6 Mile East Side Hustle Boys, affiliated with the Crips, and the 7 Mile East Side Bloods didn't just wake up one day as enemies. Their territorial war has raged for over 15 years, with the 7 Mile Bloods initially being the dominant force. The current intensity of the beef, however, can be traced to a specific incident in 2014, a confrontation that would change everything. It happened outside a parole office, of all places. Two members of the 6 Mile crew, known as the 42 Twins, encountered a 7 Mile Blood while all were there for scheduled appointments with their parole officers. What started as a tense exchange quickly escalated. The 42 Twins jumped into a car with fellow gang members and fled the scene. 7 Mile Bloods pursued them and opened fire, hitting one of the twins and another Hustle gang member named Dejon Neff Page. While the twins survived their injuries, Page fell into a coma and later died from his wounds. Police arrested several 7 Mile Bloods for the shooting. The 42 Twins were expected to testify against them in court, a move that would have violated street code. At the last minute, they refused to take the stand. Following Page's death, the 6 Mile crew allied with other enemies of the 7 Mile Bloods, challenging their territorial control and vowing to avenge their fallen member. What had been a simmering rivalry transformed into an all-out war that continues to this day.